I didn't even touch the surface with him. But it's the thing that he felt he needed to say the most today to offer the most healing, because it was just about saying hello to you and giving her a little more peace about the passing. Do you understand it? Wonderful. Good. That's what it's about. Okay. All right, as I start to connect to Dorothy, and I keep getting a dot, I'm also getting Elizabeth again, too. So I will leave that for just a minute. Who has Elizabeth as a grandmother? Grandmother energy. Grandmother? Okay, perfect. Grandmother energy for you? Okay, good. I'll leave that for a minute, okay? And what about James? Named Jim. Perfect. Okay, so that, and it very well could be you too. So they might piggyback off of each other, okay? And who's James for you? Father energy? Okay, so it could be that both James actually step in, but I feel like you're the first one that I come to. So we'll wait and see where that goes, okay? Okay, good. Dorothy, I'm being told I'm just gonna have her for like 2 minutes, and that's okay. I need to stop for just a minute, because just like I started to connect to Dorothy again, Chris got my attention. I have a small young girl standing here, and she keeps saying she passed to leukemia. It's very strong. She was under 13. She's saying to me cancer and passed to leukemia. Does anybody recognize that? Because I'm being told friend to family, meaning someone knows somebody who lost a family member long time ago. She's been passed a long time. All right, I need to welcome her in because she's getting my attention.
Kelly.
Leukemia.
Kelly.
Do you recognize him? I promise, I'm coming back. Your grandmother keeps saying, it's okay, go. Meaning, I'll come back to you. Do you recognize the young girl with the leukemia? Huh? That's okay. Do you understand it? And who was that for you? A friend? I keep getting friend energy. Do you understand it? Okay, good. Are you still connected to that other person? It's okay. Like, I just felt like I was supposed to take her. I knew that she had been gone a long time. I'm being told cancer and leukemia, that it spread into the bloodstream, and that's leukemia. She's saying to me, you really caught her off guard by talking to me, because there's no way she would ever have thought about me coming through. And she was young. Very young. Meaning friend of family. Because you are connected to that sister, so you're a friend of the family. Do you understand it? Wonderful. Yeah, she's stepping in. I'm only going to have her for 2 minutes, but it's just because there's still family here that she wants to give the message to. But I also feel like you knew her and spent time with her. Do you understand it? Good. So would you consider her that she was a friend back then? Because she's saying to me, I spent some time with her and I cared for her. That's how I know that there's the connection. Do you understand it? Good. Okay. She's stepping in. Oh, she's been gone so long. I mean, this is easily 30 or 40 years. Do you understand it? Because they're saying longevity to me, so that's how I know. Like, it's been very, very, very long. Wonderful. She's, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to see what it was like for her as a child. She's making me do this. So I know there's the loss of the hair back then, because she's doing this and I'm starting to see her bald. Okay? And she keeps saying to me, friend, leukemia, passed to cancer. And she's saying to me a long time ago. Okay? I had to get your attention while I had the chance. Okay? I just wanted to say hello to her because I knew she would remember me. And it was nice to spend the time with her because I wasn't very old when I died. She was a child. Okay? Can she please tell my family I love them? And that I think of them and that I'm with them. I know there's other loved ones she wants to hear from. And you have a dad that's passed? Okay, he's stepping in behind her, honey. So she's the first person that I connected to then bring your loved ones through, okay? Yeah. He's, very strong with his presence. Do you understand it? Not only is he strong with his presence because of the way that he's stepping in, but it's also his personality. Okay? He's one of the people you wanted to hear from?
Yes.
Okay. And there's a mother energy that's passed as well? Perfect. She's tagged along. He said, come on, let's go. And she's like slowly walking in behind him. So he's here first, but I wanted to connect to the young girl with the cancer, so I pulled her through first. So both parents are here. I'm being told I'm only going to have a few minutes with them because they gave up their energy for her to be able to pass the information to her family because she's been gone so long and there hasn't been a chance to have that connection with them. So it's her way of giving me the peaceful wings across her chest, and it's her way of validating to me that she just needs them to know that she's at peace and that she's continued to be with the family all these years. And that's why she was making me feel how long it had been, because it had been a very, very, very long time. Okay? Good. Yes. Yes, perfect. I have to always stop and say, I know somebody recognizes this who wants to claim it. Because sometimes we don't think in the moment, and then I'll give you an example. I read a group of like 218 people at the VFW in Baltimore last May 4th. And I kept getting a young child drowned. I knew somebody knew the family. Nobody claimed it, so I just had to let it go. 6, 7, 8 people came up to me at the end. Oh, I know who you're talking about. And then I had to figure out who it belonged to afterwards, because no one could claim it enough for me to let that person fully step in and then give the name and the rest of the validation, because I only felt the first initial part of it. Do you understand? But there's both parents actually stepping in for you, so I'm going to take my time with them, okay? So she just needs you to pass the information to the family that she's doing well and that she's at peace and that she's still with them, okay? Good. And that's the sister that you still talk to? And she said, please tell my sister I love her. So that's how I know that's who you're talking about. Okay? Good. Wonderful. He passed before her. I passed before her. And there's a father energy stepping in just behind your mom. It's not your dad. Okay. Do you understand it? Okay. So I have your father, I have your mom, I have a grandfather here, and I have 2 grandmothers just behind. Okay? So all I keep getting is, I'm her dad, I passed before her. Meaning, your grandfather is validating that he met your mom. Do you understand? Okay. Then I'm going to come back to your dad and your actual mom, but your grandparents are trying to say hello as well. And it's just because they're here for the supportive energy. Do you recognize it? Okay, good. And I keep getting terminally ill. So I'm going to leave that because I feel like it's coming from one of the grandparents. So I'm going to leave that, okay? They're saying there's 19 people. The young girl was 1. There's 18 here. I'm feeling these 5. Other people are starting to step in the older generations, and they're saying there's a total of 18, not counting her, because she was number 19. Is this your first time connecting with your parents since the passing? Because they're saying to me it's the first time you have a chance to talk to them. Do you understand it? Okay, good. But I'm feeling that really strong grandfather, which is your mom's dad. He's saying to me he was passed before her, and I'm being told both of her parents were passed before her. Do you understand it? That's before the grandparents. Okay, that's it. Okay. This is what we're doing. Grandparents, great-grandparents, your parents. Down the bloodline. They're trying to validate who passed before who, because there's a really strong gentleman behind them. Tell me your name, honey. I keep getting the name Frank. Do you understand? Okay, you understand what's going on now, okay? So the great-grandparents are trying to say somebody in the grandparent generation that they were passed before, then the other generation, the younger generation passed before them, and then we come down to your parents. All right, perfect. Do you understand it? Because Frank is back there. Because I'm like, tell me your name, because this is the person that I'm getting it from. They're trying to validate that there's people that went before their actual parents, meaning they passed when they were young, and then everyone else was in possession of everybody else back through the family. Perfect. Okay, good. You understand. Good. Wonderful. Because I have dad, mom, 2 sets of parents here, 2 sets of parents here, and then the great-grandparents just behind, meaning everyone's starting to step in. Frank, who's Eleanor?
Was an aunt.
Perfect. See what I'm talking about? There's 18 people here, and everyone's starting to say their names, Frank and Eleanor, and they're trying to say who preceded who. And it's just because that older generation was given the validation instead of the grandparents. Do you understand it? Perfect, good. Okay, so they're going to start to give me names as we go, and even though they're not going to step in, they're validating that they're here for support. And I'm getting Frank and I'm getting Eleanor. Okay, good. Okay, good. George? Okay, yeah, they're all starting to name themselves. It's hysterical. There's a lot. Huh? Do you understand? Perfect. Okay. Frank, George, Eleanor, all standing right here in this group of 18. They're just here for support. They're not going to talk. It's going to be your mom and dad, but I still have to respect what they're giving me because they're trying to validate themselves. Okay? So that's why they're giving me their name. There's a Henry as well. Older generation Henry. Wow. I'm like, you might as well just start naming people. Mildred. See how creative? Hey, I just go with it. I can see them and they're starting to introduce themselves to me. So I have Frank, I have Henry, I have George, I have Mildred, and then I have Eleanor. And then here's your parents and they're saying, okay, whenever you guys are ready, we'll start talking. And it's just, do you understand it? Perfect. So that's why I had to stop myself and say, oh, you know what, this is the older generation, because there was that child that passed before the parents, and it's just because they all started to blend through together. They were coming through your mom and dad, and they were trying to validate themselves as far as who preceded who. So as long as you understand it. So it's just, my guides had to say, wait a minute, you guys need to slow down so she can understand what you're saying, because everybody, remember before where I had everybody talking to me. So right there's 5 people that just named themselves that are here, that you know through the family history you had the connections with, and it's their way of saying they're here for support with your family, and that they're with your mom and dad. Do you understand? So I'm going to your mom and dad now, and I'm saying, okay, I'm respecting everybody else that's here. I understand you're here for the support, but I know that she wants to have the connection with them. And I'm getting a little laughter, so it's okay. So it's their way of just picking on me. Okay, good. So I'm having them start to line up. Who's the serviceman that had the amputation? Do you understand it? There's a gentleman stepping just beside them. He's saluting me like this. He's saying to me that he fought, and he's amputating his leg for me, and that's how I know there's an amputation. And it doesn't have to be leg, it can be hand, it can be arm, it's just my symbol. Do you understand it? When they just make me feel like I want to take a part of my body off, it's his way of saying that he was an amputee, that he served, and that he fought. Do you understand? Honey, I could probably read you for 4 hours. And everyone would be like, this is my name and this is how I passed. Okay? But I want you to have time with them. But as they started to separate themselves out, he was saluting me. He's standing back here in a uniform. He's talking to me about war and battle, and he's talking to me about how he was an amputee because of it. Do you understand? Perfect. Wonderful. Good. And William. Okay, so I'm like, okay, that's enough names, let's come here. I know, I'm just, good, yeah, perfect. All right, so I'm coming to mom and dad. You feel like you didn't have enough time with your mom, honey? Because she just said to me, she feels like years were taken away from us because of how young I was when I passed. Do you understand it? Okay, good. You still have memories of her though? What's with the old black and white photos she keeps showing me?
I have all her photos.
You were just looking at them recently? She said she was just looking just before you left? That's it. Because she has me sitting where I feel like I'm sitting on the floor by your couch. I feel like I'm looking at all these black and white albums all in front of me like this, and she keeps saying to me, she just looked at them, I was just sitting beside her. And you just did that before you came today? There you go. It means that she was with you the whole time in spirit today, even before you got here. Do you understand it? Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. She's saying to me, I know she was looking at that because she wanted to have a connection, because she thought if she did that, it would bring us to her. Do you understand it? Were you asking her to step forward today? She's saying to me, she looked at those pictures because it was her way of trying to connect to us, because she kept saying, I want to hear from you. And that can mean plural. Do you understand it? Perfect. So that's why some of these older generations are all stepping in to validate they're here with your parents and that they're here to say hello. I think it's just going to be a simple message of them saying hello to you, because I keep getting pulled back to the older generations, and it's just because their energy's so strong, because they still want to continue to introduce themselves to me. Okay, so I'm just going to, do you understand it? Okay, so part of the reason why this is happening and everyone's stepping and standing just behind your parents is because of what you did today. Even though they would have been here, I would have just felt the long line and said, okay, there's 19 people here counting this girl, which means there's 18 family members, and then the little girl that was validating that she was a friend that passed with leukemia. Do you understand it? So that's why I'm getting everyone else's names that are standing here, because of what you did today. Somebody just said she wanted the connection with us, she got it. Do you understand it? So that's why they're all given names. And I'm just saying, okay, let's just respect what they want to say, and I have to respect what they're doing. Okay? And they're being very polite with me because I could continue to go on and on. But then what'll happen is you won't get the full connection with your mom and dad. Okay? So I'm just going to be able to spend just a few minutes with them, and that's okay. But she keeps saying to me she's been gone for quite a while, and that she didn't have the time with you that she wanted. Okay? Do you understand it? Okay, good. Yeah. I'll give you a name, Arthur. Does anybody recognize the name Arthur? They called him Art. Because I know it's not her bloodline, but he's starting to step in over here, and I'm being pulled into a different bloodline. I'm going to leave him for a minute because he could be an older generation for somebody. But I'm going to take your mom. Your dad's here. Is he the most recent past for you as far as parents? Because he keeps saying to me, I'm the one that stayed with her the longest, I'm the recent past. Do you understand it? And you were very close to him as well? Because he makes me feel like, I want to hug you, and that's how I know. They were tied in marriage when your mom passed? Because he's showing me the wedding rings, and he said it was hard to lose my wife so long ago, and I ended up being her only parent for a very long time. And so we became close because we had each other to lean on after her passing. And there's ways that my daughter helped me in days that I thought I wasn't going to be able to get through after losing my wife. Do you understand it? So it's his way of making me feel that you leaned on each other and you were both each other's sounding board through all this. He's saying to me you were one of his biggest supports through all that, and that he was yours. Do you understand it? Okay. Because he keeps saying to me, the sickness happened so fast, and it was so sudden that it left everybody picking up the pieces. Do you understand it? So it's his way of validating that she's been gone for a long time. That's what you went through together, and that he was a support for you and you were a support for him. Do you understand? Wonderful. Okay. So it's his way of making me feel how he felt with the loss of the wife because she preceded him, and what you went through together, and that your closeness with him was different than your mom's, but that you love them both equally. Do you understand it? You just didn't have the time with her to spend like you had with him. Okay? Good. I'm hearing taps play, but I know I have to do with the serviceman that was showing me the amputee. Okay? So I know that there's some kind of military burial with him and other people in the generation. All of a sudden, I'm on this really, really, really long road, and someone's making me get in an old Chevy. It's like really strong, and I know it's an older generation, and I can't tell if it's a 55 or 57. Do you understand it? And he keeps saying, get in my car, let's go for a ride. And I said, where are we going? So whether he was a collector or whether you remember it, perfect. So I'm just going to leave that for a minute because I'm like, what are you trying to say to me? But it's his way of trying to introduce himself even though he hasn't given his name yet. Do you understand? Perfect, good. All right, I'm coming back to Dad because I had to see that really clearly. And what's with the 7 or the month of July?